Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the business meetings for the City of Prattville this evening. We have no public hearings to consider tonight, so we will move straight into our council agenda. At this time, we invite you to stand for our Pledge of Allegiance and invocation, which I will give this evening. Won't you pray with me? Heavenly Father, we come before you tonight and we thank you for your mercies. We especially are cognizant of the weather that went through our state just yesterday, and we are so grateful that you lifted it up over Watauga County and that we were blessed to get the rain that washed away some of the pollen, but not the severe weather that hurt any of our area. Thank you so much that you are God over all things and we can trust in you for our safety and our security. We approach you tonight recognizing that you have set government in its place. You have set kings into their place of authority, and you raise up kings and you remove kings. And we thank you that you are sovereign over all. And we just pray humbly, asking you to direct our words, our thoughts, and the way that we deal with the business of our city to make it honorable towards you tonight. Bless us in every way in Jesus' precious name. Amen. Amen. Madam Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Councillor Sanders. Here. Councillor Jackson. Here. Councillor Chambers. Councillor Merrick. Here. Councillor Whaley. Here. Councillor Stritchett. Here. Councillor Boone. Here.
Having a quorum present, I do call this meeting to order. The character trait of the month is determination, overcoming obstacles in order to reach my goals. At this time, we have an opportunity to approve our minutes from the City Council meeting, which was held on March the 18th, 2025. At this time, the chair will entertain a motion to approve these minutes.
So moved.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor of approving the minutes, please signify by raising your right hand. All opposed by a like sign. And our minutes are approved. At this time, we would like to recognize our special guest, EMA Director David Bagley, here tonight. Thank you for being with us tonight. We know that you have been really helping keep watch over this weather and keep us safe as well. At this time, we will welcome comments from persons present regarding tonight's agenda only. Things that we are voting on tonight are things that you could be talking about this evening. We would ask anyone who wishes to speak at this time to line up against this wall over here, sign up on the podium with your name and address, and come forward, speak your name and address to the clerk, and you'll have 3 minutes to address the council. Is there anyone present who wishes to speak on something we are voting on tonight? Hearing none, Mr. Mayor, please come forward and give us your report.
Yes, ma'am. If I might ask for a point of privilege.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Miss Becky, if should come forward. She's with our 911 center, and today, this week was National Public Safety Telecommunication Week. It's April 13th through the 19th. So I want to go ahead and present it today and everything. But before I do this, would you like a moment with the microphone?
Yes, please.
Okay.
It might be a little bit long, but my name is Becky Nugent, and I am the 911 Director for Watauga County 911. In 1968, the first 911 call was made in Haleyville, Alabama. And 26 years later, in 1994, President Bill Clinton signed Proclamation 6667, designating the second week in April as National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week. President Clinton said, "These dedicated men and women are more than anonymous voices on the telephone line. We rely on their knowledge and professionalism as they make critical decisions, obtain information, and quickly dispatch needed aid." America's public safety telecommunicators serve our citizens daily in countless ways. The work of these unseen first responders is invaluable in emergency situations, and each of these dedicated men and women deserves our heartfelt appreciation. Americans place their trust in these individuals not just this week, but every day of the year. Most people usually don't even think about 911 until they need it. They usually think we are the fire department, or that we're the police department, or whatever ambulance service transports their family member. And you know what? That's okay. Because at the end of the day, we're all here to save lives and be a part of something bigger than ourselves. The unsung heroes behind the headset, the voice on the radio that takes control of high-speed chases, school shootings, bridge collapses, plane crashes, suicides, both attempted and committed, fully on the phone, CPR, kidnappings, missing children, sexual assaults, and more. But we could be here all night with an exhaustive list of the acts of heroism I have personally witnessed. Across the United States, there are over 100,000 public safety telecommunicators that take over 250 million 911 emergency calls for service every year. Let that sink in for a minute. 250 million 911 calls. In Alabama, there are over 2,440 public safety telecommunicators working rotating shifts, holidays, birthdays, Christmases, Thanksgivings, and many hours of overtime to answer and process the millions of 911 calls that are received from Alabama citizens every year. 18 of those dedicated professionals work right here in Autauga County, at Autauga County 911. Last year, Autauga County 911 answered 28,471 911 emergency calls for service. They processed 3,483 calls for the Volunteer Fire Association, 11,818 calls for service for the Autauga County Sheriff's Department, 6,577 calls for service for the Prattville Fire Department, 40,137 calls for service for the Prattville Police Department, and 2,591 calls for service for Haynes EMS, for a total of 64,606 calls for service. The 18 people currently working at Autauga County 911 are some of the hardest working, most dedicated professional heroes I have ever known in my almost 30-year career in public safety. They look out for one another, and they truly do care about their callers, their community, and every single officer and firefighter that keys up on the radio. They pray for their safety and want each of them to go home to their families at the end of their shift. Sometimes this job, just like any other, can be extremely overwhelming. And employees are expected to just answer the next call, even though the one before was heartbreaking. But they do it because that is the job they signed up for. But they are humans and not robots. And everyone deserves appreciation, a thank you, a kudos for a job well done. Because in my world, heroes don't wear capes, they wear headsets. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. It is very eye-opening, everything that is done with your organization there, and we certainly do appreciate that. But if I might read this proclamation real quickly. Whereas emergency can occur at any time that require police, fire, emergency medical services, whereas when an emergency occurs, the prompt response of police officers, firefighters, and paramedics are critical to the protection of life and preservation of property, whereas the safety of our citizens, first responders, is dependent upon the quality and accuracy of information communicated from citizens to the Autauga County 911 Emergency Service, whereas public safety telecommunicators are the vital link for emergency services by monitoring their activity on the radio and relaying information effectively that ensures their safety, whereas the Autauga County 911 telecommunications have contributed to the apprehension of criminals, suppression of fires, and treatment of patients, whereas dispatchers have to exhibit calmness as well as compassion, understanding, and professionalism in all daily duties. So as the mayor of the city of Prattville, do I here proclaim April 13th through the 19th, 2025 as Public Safety Telecommunications Week in Prattville, Alabama. And we certainly do appreciate everything that you men and women do for our community.
Thank you so much.
So,
Appreciate
thank you.
it. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. If I might extend my point of privilege, please, ma'am, and ask our Autauga County Heritage Association come up. I think they want to give some presentation about the Pratt project. So I'll leave the podium to them. I'm going to return to my seat for a moment.
All right. Well, thank you, Mayor, for giving us a few minutes to speak, and thank you all for all that you do. My name is Cody Daughtry. If y'all remember, a few months back, I spoke about our museum project called the Pratt. So I want to give a quick project update related to that. And I know Jeremy Day, who is here with me, is going to provide a few other items in conjunction with that process. But first off, I want to reiterate the project's vision. So the project has evolved, however, our vision has remained the same. And it is to develop an entertaining and interactive museum and venue in Prattville for community gatherings. And really what I see with this, it really gives us a chance to tell our story. And I want to emphasize our story because it is our story and it's unique. The exhibits and the STEM activities, they're going to allow for young individuals, really all ages, to be creative, be inventive. And it's going to showcase how Prattville's industrial history changed Alabama's future. And really not just Alabama's future, but other states as well. And we can make the argument internationally. We also completed a very positive case for support related to the operating pro forma that we provided. We did our due diligence. We spent many hours on that pro forma. It was a forward-looking approach. It was very detailed, very thorough, and I was highly encouraged to see that data come together and that end result. Another quick update is HPRA is moving forward with surveying the site, and we will soon engage an architectural firm to begin the design development. We also started a campaign cabinet that includes a total of 24 well-known and highly respected individuals within the community and, of course, beyond. And I'm actually part of that cabinet, so when I say well-known and highly respected, just know I'm embellishing a little bit there. But kidding aside, we do anticipate another 6 high-profile public and private sector individuals and leaders becoming soon, so it's really encouraging to see people getting behind this project. But with that, I'm going to turn over to you, Jeremy. Thank you all.
Thank you. As you've heard from Cody, a lot has been happening since ACHA presented before the council previously. We've solicited nearly 50 families, corporations, and public and private entities. We've already have over 1.5 million pledged by 20 donors, with another 7.7 in pending decisions, and an additional 100 to 150 solicitations that are being scheduled over the next several months. Our legislative delegation at the state level continues to champion our request to the state for $2.5 million, and everything that we've heard from them, very positive indications about that funding. As a Heritage Association board member, a campaign cabinet member myself, and as a person who's uniquely involved in a lot of different aspects of our community, I love this project and believe in it. I think I can say that for our entire board, our entire campaign cabinet. But what has been exciting and encouraging throughout this process as we've gone through this study and through this solicitation, through this campaign, is the overwhelming enthusiasm and support we've seen from our community. This has fueled our desire to match the moment, and we're confident that the Pratt will integrate with other wonderful development around the historic mill pond to complete the downtown experience. This project will have a lasting impact on our local economy through increased tourism, but will also enhance K through 12 and adult education, and will honor the legacy of those who entrusted us with this great community. With that said, we want the city to partner with us, as we mentioned at our previous visit, in this great work. We are asking you for $2.5 million, pledged over 5 years or less, and we're confident that your investment will trigger other significant public and private sector investment. We thank you so much for allowing us to give an update, and thank you, Mayor, for the point of privilege. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jeremy and Cody.
Yes, I want to thank everybody involved with this program. You know, they give back to our community in so many various ways and in their professional lives, and really do appreciate everything they do for our community. And since we are talking about projects, I guess I might bring up the Stanley J. project just a little bit. I think there was some walkthroughs a little bit today, and I know I was not the first. I believe District 6 might have been the first through the locker rooms today.
Well, yeah, it was a little impromptu meeting with Director Carter and I was down there, and they're installing the video boards this week. If anyone rides by, you'll see 2 enormously sized cranes that's going to put in the scoreboards, and it's going to be very nice. But I did get to go into the locker rooms. They're absolutely gorgeous. Something to be proud of. This community, you know, visitor locker room, home locker room with the lockers and the painting, and it's just remarkable. And then Kelly allowed me to take a tour of, we saw the concessions, the bathrooms, everything down there is so nice. Still, there's some things left to do. There'll be, of course, punch list coming up. There's some landscaping still left to do, and but it's coming along pretty well and it looks fantastic. I believe the very first event, actual event that's going to take place down there is going to be Prattville High School graduation in May. But yeah, great job to Kelly and Parks and Rec and everybody else. So.
Well, thank you for that, and I did like your choice of word. She allowed you. We might have to talk about that
Yeah,
later
she
on,
allows
but,
me to allow things. Sometimes I have to get my hand slapped, but, that's okay.
Well, counselors, today, right here in this room, we actually had the Maxwell Gunner Spouses Club International women visit the city of Prattville. They've been here, they will be leaving in May, but they've been here with their spouses as their spouses attend Maxwell here at Ward College, and they have really been very complimentary about the city of Prattville. They're very impressed with our community and our hospitality. They hope to visit again in the future, but they were super complimentary about the Parade of Pumpkins and our Hallmark Christmas activities we have here. They absolutely love that big portion of our community. So hopefully some of them were not the international ladies, but some of the other ladies that were from other portions of the country said they're already planning on moving back and retiring here. And some good news I did have the other day that approximately 38% of our population are retired military. So I think that shows we have a real good love affair with our military here in Prattville. Also today, I was able to attend the Family Support Center. They held their Child Abuse Prevention Month kickoff with pinwheels and popcorn. I want to thank them so much for that event. But the pinwheels that they presented today represented that every child deserves a safe and happy childhood. And the popcorn shows that when something is nurtured, it fulfills our lives, and children thrive when nurtured. So we all can remember that every time we see any popcorn or pinwheels. Also, working closely with Council President Boone and our city engineer Paxton Reese, we've been looking at a type of surface treatment that they call the triple surface treatment for dirt streets. And I know that's been a big conversation with a lot of folks. We have a handful of dirt streets inside the corporate limits. So this is something we'll be getting all the information out to. So hopefully we might be able to come together and have a test area or two to see exactly how it works out. And I've actually talked a little bit with Daniel Oakley to see if we might be able to find roughly about $100,000 that if as we review all this, we decide we want to try a few areas around Prattville, maybe we can amend the budget and move forward with that. So that will be coming before y'all very, very soon. But I want to thank Paxton for bringing all this information, and he'll be sending it out to the rest of the whole council. Also, our city engineer gave me a little update on our Fairview Avenue project. They are way behind schedule. And with that, they are working to have a slight change in their work schedule. Right now, they're trying to not block up any of the lanes before 8 o'clock, and they have to get off of the work site as the school traffic comes through. So they're going to try to adjust it Monday through Thursday, starting, I believe, next week, to maybe after the school traffic gets out, then they'll come back on site and maybe work till about 7 o'clock. So if anybody's in that area, please be mindful, avoid it if possible, but we might get a few more calls, but about maybe a little more dust, a little more noise, but I think the end product is very, very important in this community. So let's see. Also, one thing I did forget to mention on that triple service treatment, the average cost for a half mile is roughly about $48,000. City roadway minimum is about $450,000 per half mile. So if we can get that to work out, that might be a good solution for our dirt streets there. My closing comments are that please don't forget this weekend, Saturday, the opening ceremonies of girls softball will be at 10 a.m. at Matt Gray Park 2. The Pickett Festival, previously known as the Wilson Pickett Music and Art Festival, will be held from 10 to 5 at Cooter's Pond. The rescheduling opening for baseball ceremonies will be 2 p.m. at Whetstone Baseball Complex. And I'll have to say that the Beats and Eats that we had Friday of last week, I thought was a big success it was downtown and it was a great turnout, especially since so many folks were looking for something to do on their spring break. Madam President, the end of my report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Do any councilors have any questions or comments for the mayor? Mr. Jackson?
Yes, sir. Excuse me. Do you mind repeating those costs for the triple service treatment?
I'll be glad to give it to you, but the triple surface for a half mile was $48,000, and the regular city roadway minimum was actually $451,000.
Okay. Another question. Can we get an update as to where we are with the, from Andrew as far as some of the bent tree agreements? I know, I think Andrew sent out some letters last week, and just to see if we have any kind of update on the feedback from those residents.
Yes, thank you, Councilor Jackson. So far, I've got a few of those letters back. I believe it was 9 total. And again, because this is private property, weren't able to go and actually do any repairs, but this is going to be exploratory work, jetting out the line, and also some camera work so we can see if we can locate and diagnose the issue and go from there. But I would encourage all Bent Tree residents, if you haven't sent the letter back in, please do so. It can be turned into the Public Works Department or emailed back to me, and my address is on all the letters.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
And
you.
I wanted to just make sure we cleared that up because I just saw some of the residents come in and also talk with some of them over the weekend, so thank you.
Any other councilors have any comments or questions for the mayor? Thank you, Mr. Mayor. At this time, we will move into reports from the council on special committees. Councilor Sanders, do you have a report? No, ma'am. Councilor Jackson?
No.
Councilor Merrick?
No, ma'am.
Councilor Whaley?
No, ma'am.
Councilor Strichick?
No, ma'am.
I have no report, but I would like to piggyback off of what the ACHA spoke on earlier and just remind the public as well as the council that the Watauga County Heritage Association will be having their annual Low Country Boil this month, towards the end of the month. It's one of their biggest fundraisers of the year. So if you want to get out there and support projects such as the Pratt that they are looking at, as well as what they normally maintain around the county and projects they are involved in, this is a great way to support them. And I can assure you that the food is excellent, the fellowship is great, the music is good. I attend every year, so I encourage anyone who can to purchase tickets and come to Buena Vista at the end of the month to celebrate with ACHA. At this time, we do have the opportunity to create a consent agenda. Items that could fall under our consent agenda include Resolution Number 1, to declare the garbage and rubbish at 520 East Main Street a public nuisance and authorize the mayor to abate and charge any incurred expenses pursuant to Chapter 46, City of Prattville Code of Ordinances. Resolution Number 2, to declare the garbage and rubbish at 518 Boxwood Road a public nuisance and authorize the mayor to abate and charge any incurred expenses pursuant to Chapter 46, City of Prattville Code of Ordinances. Resolution Number 3, to declare the garbage and rubbish at 1456 South Memorial a public nuisance and authorize the mayor to abate and charge any incurred expenses pursuant to Chapter 46, City of Prattville Code of Ordinances. Resolution Number 4, to declare the garbage and rubbish at 413 New Moon Drive a public nuisance and authorize the mayor to abate and charge any incurred expenses pursuant to Chapter 46, City of Prattville Code of Ordinances. Resolution Number 5, to declare garbage and rubbish at 409 Bedford Terrace a public nuisance and authorize the mayor to abate and charge any incurred expenses pursuant to Chapter 46, City of Prattville Code of Ordinances. Resolution Number 6, to declare garbage and rubbish at 115 Yopon Drive a public nuisance and authorize the mayor to abate and charge any incurred expenses pursuant to Chapter 46, City of Prattville Ordinances. And Resolution Number 7, to accept the extension of J Street from east of Chantel Drive to the intersection of McQueen Smith Road as a city street. Do I hear a motion to create such a consent agenda?
So moved.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second. Who's first?
I think they have it. We have a motion and we have a second. All in favor of creating this consent agenda, please signify by raising your right hand. All opposed by a like sign. And the consent agenda is now properly before us. Do I hear a motion to adopt this consent agenda?
So moved.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second. Is there any discussion on the consent agenda as it stands before us? Hearing none, all in favor of adopting this consent agenda, please signify by raising your right hand. All opposed by a like sign. And the consent agenda is adopted. At this time, we will move into our regular agenda. Resolution number 1 is to award bid number 25-004 to Murphy Excavation LLC for the ADA compliant downtown pedestrian paths and sidewalks for the Transportation Alternative Program TAP, Project TAPAA-TA24925, CPMS reference number 100077818 and 100077819 at a total cost not to exceed $523,980 with a net cost to the city not to exceed $112,712. Counselor Jackson, will you introduce this resolution for us, please?
Yes, ma'am. Whereas in Resolution Book 2023B, page 239, on November the 7th, 2023, the City Council of the City of Prattville authorized the mayor to enter into an agreement with ALDOT for TAP project number TAPAA-TA24925C. PMS reference number 100077818 and 100077819, and whereas engineering had specifications drafted for said project, and whereas 4 sealed bids were received, opened, and read aloud on March 13, 2025 at 10 a.m. in the Dawson Community Center Auditorium, and Murphy Excavation LLC was the lowest responsible bidder at a total cost not to exceed $523,980. And whereas this is a budgeted expense in the Capital Projects Fund, now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Prattville hereby awards bid number 25004 to Murphy Excavations LLC in an amount not to exceed $523,980. Net cost to the city not to exceed $112,712 for said sidewalk project, and said funds are approved and appropriated from fiscal year 2025 budget line item Capital Projects Fund Downtown Sidewalks. Be it further resolved that the mayor is hereby authorized to execute any and all documents necessary to carry out the intent of this resolution. So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Is there any discussion regarding resolution number 1? Hearing none, all in favor of resolution number 1, please signify by raising your right hand. All opposed by a like sign. And resolution number 1 is adopted. Resolution number 2 is to authorize the release of funds for the purchase of one 2025 Hino dump truck through the Sourcewell Purchasing Cooperative, contract number 032824 NAF from Kenworth of Birmingham Incorporated from Urban Management at a cost not to exceed $122,633. Counselor Merrick, will you introduce this for us, please?
Yes, ma'am. Whereas Urban Management has identified a need to purchase one 2025 Hino L7 dump truck, and whereas said truck is available through the Sourcewell Purchasing Cooperative contract number 032824-NAF from Kenworth of Birmingham Incorporated at a cost not to exceed $122,633. And whereas this is a budgeted expense in Urban Management. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Prattville that funds in the amount not to exceed $122,633 for the purchase of said truck are hereby authorized and approved to be paid to Kenworth of Birmingham Incorporated, and said funds are approved and appropriated from fiscal year 2025 budget line item Urban Management Capital Outlay. So moved, Madam President.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second. Is there any discussion on resolution number 2? Hearing none, all in favor of resolution number 2, please signify by raising your right hand. All opposed by a like sign. And resolution number 2 is adopted. Resolution number 3 is to set a public hearing to rezone property located inside the corporate limits off of Doster Road from FAR, Forest, Agricultural, and Recreation, to M2, General Industry. Counselor Strichick, will you introduce this resolution for us, please?
Yes, ma'am. Whereas Blake Rice of BSI Incorporated is the petitioner for the property described in attachment A, and whereas said property to rezone is located at the corporate limits of Doster Road, and whereas the petitioner wishes to rezone the approximately 6.24 acre property from FAR to M2, and whereas the public hearing on the proposed rezoning was held by the City of Prattville Planning Commission on March 20th, 2025. Whereas the Planning Commission did recommend the zoning of said property and described in attachment A be amended from FAR to M2. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Prattville that a public hearing is set for May 6, 2025 at 6 p.m. on the second floor, 124 West Main Street. So moved, Madam President.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second. Is there any discussion on resolution number 3? Hearing none. All in favor of resolution number 3, please signify by raising your right hand. All opposed by a like sign. Resolution number 3 is adopted. At this point, Councilor Strichick, will you please read in the ordinance portion?
Yes. Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Prattville, Alabama as follows. That zoning ordinance of the City of Prattville, Alabama and the zoning map are hereby amended to reclassify the property described in attachment A be amended from FAR to M2. That this proposed ordinance is a synopsis where advertised for 2 weeks in the Montgomery Advertiser, a newspaper of general circulation within the corporate limits of the City of Prattville. And the City Council, at its public hearing on May 6, 2025 at 6 p.m., will consider said proposed ordinance, and at such time and place all persons who desire had an opportunity to be heard in favor or in opposition to such ordinance. All other items and provisions of the zoning ordinance not herein specifically amended shall remain in full force and in effect. The amendments herein considered and recommended by the City of Prattville Planning Commission on March 20th, 25. This ordinance shall become effective upon its passage and execution as provided by law adopted on this day. So moved, Madam President.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second. By point of order, this ordinance will hold over until after the public hearing, which will be held on May the 6th. Resolution number 4 is to authorize the city staff to submit an application through the Montgomery Metropolitan Planning Organization, or MPO, Transportation Alternative Program, TAP, for sidewalk improvements along Sheila Boulevard, Janice Street, and Thames Drive at a total cost not to exceed $288,075, with a net cost to the city not to exceed $88,075. Councilor Jackson, will you read in this resolution for us, please?
Whereas the City of Prattville is interested in applying under the fiscal year 2025 Montgomery MPO's TAP for sidewalk improvements along Sheila Boulevard, Janice Street, and Thames Drive, whereas the city staff has the expertise to prepare said application for the city. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Prattville that an application be submitted to the Montgomery MPO and the City Council commits to all matching funds. Be it further resolved that the mayor is hereby authorized to execute any and all documents necessary to carry out the intent of this resolution. Be it further resolved that upon completion of the execution of said agreements by all parties, that a copy of such agreement be kept on file by the city clerk. So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Is there any discussion regarding resolution number 4? Hearing none. All in favor of resolution number 4, please signify by raising your right hand. All opposed by a like sign. And resolution number 4 is adopted. Resolution number 5 is to authorize the release of funds for audio-visual equipment and an installation to Moffett Technology Incorporated for the City Council chambers renovations at a cost not to exceed $98,901.98. Councilor Whaley, will you introduce this resolution for us, please?
Yes, ma'am. Whereas a need has been identified for updated audiovisual equipment in the city council chambers, and whereas Moffett Technology Incorporated has the expertise to provide said products and installation at a cost of $98,901.98. And whereas pursuant to Section 39-2-1 Code of Alabama 1975 as amended, said equipment and installation constitutes a public works project. And whereas Section 39-2-2 Code of Alabama 1975 as amended allows contracts for public works projects not exceeding $100,000 to be let without bidding. And whereas this is a budgeted expense in the Capital Projects Fund. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Prattville that funds in the amount not to exceed $901.98 are hereby authorized and approved to be paid to Moffett Technology Incorporated for said audiovisual equipment and installation, and said funds are approved and appropriated from FY 2025 budget line item Capital Projects Fund, City Hall renovations. Be it further resolved that the mayor is hereby authorized to execute any and all documents necessary to carry out the intent of this resolution. Madam President, I so move.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Is there any discussion on resolution number 5? Hearing none. All in favor of resolution number 5, please signify by raising your right hand. All opposed by a like sign. And resolution number 5 is adopted. Resolution number 6 is to authorize the release of funds for the purchase of 2 Toro 60-inch mowers from Live Oaks Outdoors, LLC, doing business as Prattville Outdoors, for wastewater at a cost not to exceed $22,222.66. Counselor Sanders, will you introduce this resolution for us, please?
Yes, ma'am. Whereas wastewater has identified a need to purchase 2 Toro 4000 Z-Master 60-inch mowers, and whereas said mowers are available from Live Oaks Outdoors, LLC, DBA Prattville Outdoors, at a cost of $11,111.33 each, and whereas this is a budget expense in the wastewater enterprise fund, now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Prattville that funds in an amount not to exceed $22,226.66 for the purchase of said mowers are hereby authorized and approved to be paid to Live Oaks Outdoors, LLC, DBA Prattville Outdoors, and said funds are approved and appropriated from fiscal year 2025 budget line item wastewater enterprise fund / capital outlay. So moved, Madam President.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Is there any discussion regarding resolution number 6? Hearing none, all in favor of resolution number 6, please signify by raising your right hand. All opposed by a like sign. And resolution number 6 is adopted. This exhausts our items on tonight's agenda. At the time, the council will welcome comments from persons present. We ask that anyone who wishes to speak tonight, please line up against this wall over here. Please sign up on the podium with your name and address, come forward and address the council for 3 minutes, and state your name and address for the city clerk. Yes, sir. Over here at this podium, please, if you'll sign up, Mr. Mullins, and then come forward and address us. Of course I do. Yes, sir. Please state your name and address for the council, and then you may begin.
Thank you, Madam President. I am Dennis Mullins. I reside at 521 Weatherby Trail, District 7. First of all, I want to congratulate you for your announcement on your reelection bid. I watched the video. Very well done. Very well done. So I thank you for that. So I hear there's a D.C. trip coming up. What I'd like to know is when that trip's going to be taking place, who's going to be attending on that trip, and then what's the purpose of the trip to D.C.? So,
Generally, this is a time for you to address the council with concerns, and you may state questions, but in general, we do not have a back and forth during this time. This is more of a time where someone can come forward and express concerns, and we can certainly get back with you on information, but it's usually not a question-answer session. That's kind of not the format that we handle things. That's certainly a legitimate question, and if you would like to speak with me after the meeting, I mean, we can talk through these things, but that's generally not the way. This is a time for you to present, us to hear your concerns.
Okay.
And then
I'll
if we
give you that.
so choose to address that, that's kind of the way. But if you would express what you're interested in learning, and then if you'd like to see me after the meeting, I'll be welcome to talk to you.
but you have this information
I
readily
do.
available?
I do.
All right, good. Okay. That's all I need to know. If you have it, I'm good.
Yes, sir, I do.
That's all I have. Anybody got anything for me?
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Mullins? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Please come forward, state your name and address for the council, and address us.
Mark Gillum, 357 Bent Tree Drive, and based on what you just said, this may not be the time for me to ask my question, but I have 2 questions based on what the engineer said dealing with Bent Tree Drive. Just jettison the lines, I'm just curious, and if you could get back with me later, what does that exactly mean? as far as what you plan on doing? I know exploratory work and then jettison the lines is what you said. And then you said there was 9 people responded, I believe. And I'm just wondering, is there a minimum of, or, so what's next? Does it take a certain number of people to respond? What, is a 9 enough to get the lines jettisoned, or exactly what takes place next? And like I say, this may not be the appropriate time based on what you said, but.
Mr. Mayor, would you like to address Mr. Gillum?
Yes, and if you don't mind, if you'll get with me afterwards, I'll be glad to talk with you about some of the on-site processes to the best of my abilities. As far as the legal side, that will be, he'll need to answer some of that for you.
Okay.
But I'll be glad to talk to you
So
about
can I
that.
talk to both of you maybe after meet? Okay. And, okay.
Thank you so much for coming forward.
You're welcome.
Yes, ma'am. Please come forward, state your name and address for the council, and address us.
Good afternoon, council. My name is Dr. Lavandalyn Robinson. I reside at 118 Cosby Court here in Prattville, Alabama. And I'm just here to say to the council to revisit the situation at 106 7th Street. It's been 9 months. A woman can have a baby in 9 months. I'm gonna let that marinate. I'm not here, but I will say that Scripture says in Proverbs, when pride comes, then comes disgrace, but with humility comes wisdom. I ask that the council walk with humility and grace, and you revisit this situation, and you have the courage and the dignity and the integrity to stand up against your Goliath and be who we have called you to be in this city of Prattville, Alabama. Be not afraid of their faces. You were voted in for all people of this city. All we want to do is bring back, I saw those gentlemen come in here, talk about bringing back the history and the heritage. We have a great one too, right there at 106 7th Street. A lot of hungry people were fed there. A lot of songs were written in that home. A lot of history and heritage of Prattville, Alabama is at 106 7th Street. I just ask that you bring it back to the table, and with your heart, that heart that you serve with on Sunday, you meet with it on Tuesday at the golf course or whenever you have your private meetings. And you do it with dignity and integrity and with the love of Christ that I believe all of you have in your heart. And be not afraid of their faces. Walk with character and integrity, I beg of you, and bring it back to the floor. It's time to do the right thing in Prattville, Alabama for all people. And I address you in Jesus' name.
Thank you, Ms. Robinson. Do any councilors have any questions or comments for Ms. Robinson? Thank you. This time, oh, yes, ma'am, the other Mrs. Robinson.
Good evening, Barbara Robinson, 123 White Oak Court, Prattville, Alabama. And I'm here for my answer. I left the last time at the meeting. I need answers tonight because we got less than 2 weeks about the North Highland Park for its having accommodation. We've been having the Easter egg hunt there. And you all didn't have an answer for me, but I'm quite sure, long as it being now, we should have an answer how we are going to accommodate the people in the park, all those children, the parents, and all the visitors that come from different neighborhoods. I know they can try to run across the street. That's dangerous. We're getting people over there to the center just to use the bathroom. It's not our fault. We did not build that park, and we did not build it with one toilet in these places. That's wrong. So I need answers so we can know what we need to do as a group from North Highland.
Yes, ma'am, Mrs. Robinson. I believe that Mr. Strichick addressed that last meeting. Would you like to just reiterate what you said last meeting?
the park is Kelly, they want to sign up to use the park, or do they have to, or, yeah, so you have to go down to Doster and reserve the park. That's part of the process. And then part two is, it's not a city function. So city, only restrooms we can provide is the one that's on site. We don't provide additional portalets or anything else for any other event in the city. No matter if a group rents out Cooter's Pond or Pratt Park, we don't provide extra facilities for those people because it's not a city sanctioned event.
This is a community event, though. This is something that does represent the city. It is not one district that be up there. Someone from every last one of y'all districts are there. If when they made the plan and they ignored the park committee when we told them, they ignored everything that we had put before the platform, what we would like to see up in North Highland Park. It was completely ignored. A lot of stuff that was done, it was not even shared with the North Highland Park Committee. It might have been some other committees. And they put a whole lot of other stuff up there. It didn't even come through our committee. It was never discussed with us. Never. I understand, I appreciate what they done. They honored Miss Harris, Miss Mary Virginia. They honored Mr. Willie Wood. They honored Willie Wood Jr. They put tables up there for Mr. Henry Robinson. We appreciate all of that. But in building that park, you all knew when they was building it, how it would look, how when you got a bunch of people up there for an event, or even just being up there in the park, just in there, you got one stall in each one of them, the one in the men and one in the women, and if somebody else got to go in, I bet ain't none of these other parks got one stall in them. Not one. And it's wrong. I'm just trying to speak the truth.
We appreciate your comments this evening, Ms. Robinson. We do have several other bathrooms that just have one stall, and we are doing the best to spread out our money throughout all of the parks and revampish and reconstruct and do bathrooms as much as we can, and that is something we're certainly looking at in our construction. But at this point, that's the facility that we have, and we appreciate your concerns. Thank you for speaking this evening.
Okay. Can I come back? I got another question for something else, though.
Yes, ma'am. Please come forward and state your name and address for the council.
Deborah Robinson, 118 Cosby Court, Prattville, Alabama, 36067. On May the 12th, 1868, a very important date for me. Then April the 12th, 1953. On this date, Reverend C.H. Robinson, my grandfather, was born. And in 1905, he decided that he would purchase some property. Who at the age of 37 years old would try to purchase the property at 106 7th Street for their family that looked like me? I'm quite sure he had some obstacles. I pray that he didn't run into the obstacles that I'm running in 2025 that he ran into in 1905. So I just want to leave that 1905 date with all of you, especially for those that look like me.
Thank you, Mrs. Robinson. Mrs. Robinson, as we still have a few minutes left, I'm going to allow you to come back. I understand that you have a serious issue and that you would like to. I'm going to allow you to come back and go ahead and finish what you would like to say.
My next question would be also too, that I know that when we get ready for the Juneteenth celebration, from my understanding, I think there's supposed to be some construction going on. And what date is you all actually planning on working up there in the park? The reason why we cannot use that facility for Juneteenth?
I'm not sure we have the dates at this point. I know that construction is upcoming, and we still have some bids and some professional steps that have to be taken, and I don't know that we even have dates yet, but I know that it's coming soon, and so we just kind of wanted you to have the warning that that construction will be coming. Mr. Mayor, do we have an actual date for? We don't. At this point, we are still in the phase where we're meeting with architects and builders and planners, and so we don't have an exact date at this point.
Okay, but there's also to redo some of the part that they didn't finish and add on?
I don't have the details on that. If you would like to speak to someone after the meeting, we can try to find you the answers.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Please come forward, state your name and address for the council.
How are you? My name is Robert Robinson. Robert Robinson III, actually. I reside at 118 Osprey Court. To piggyback on what Ms. Robinson said, I went to try and rent out North Highland Park for June 21st, for Juneteenth, and I was told that there would be construction on that date. So if y'all don't know what date the construction is being had and they say there is a date, maybe there's a communication barrier between the council and Parks and Rec. Secondly, Ms. Deborah Robinson, that's my mother, and I'm pretty sure any and everybody up here would be willing to do anything and everything for their mother. My grandma used to tell me all the time, you haven't lived until you have found something you're ready to die for. I will die for my mother's cause. I just need y'all to know that. I will not allow anybody, whether it be the city council, whether it be the mayor, anyone, to hurt my mother and destroy their heritage, that my great-grandfather did any and everything that he could to get that property and that house. So just know that if there's one person in the city of Prattville that is willing to do any, and I mean any and everything, to protect my mother's heritage and that house, he's standing in front of me. So I just want you to understand that, and y'all have a good day.
Thank you, Mr. Robinson. At this time, we will move into our closing comments for the evening. Mr. Mayor, do you have any closing comments? Counselor Sanders?
No, ma'am.
Counselor Jackson?
Yes, real quick. I just want to thank some of the city departments that participated in the job fair that I held in partnership with North Highland Community Center with Ms. Barbara Robinson. I know HR, the Human Resources Department was there, the Fire Department was there, but I just appreciate them being a part of that event and making it a success. We had over 200 applicants come from all over the state to participate in the job fair, and that was huge for our community. You know, I had several people ask, why don't you take it to the Dollar Store or elsewhere? But, my goal all along was to have something in District 2 in that part of the city. And like I said, North Highland, Miss Barbara and all of them, I appreciate and love them, always willing to partner. And I think that's so important for our community to learn to partner together and come together for whatever causes. But it was a huge success. I talked to Chief Thompson that day, because of course there was an unusual amount of traffic in that area. But I reached out to him and he had his guys come through. So I appreciate him doing his part and making sure we were able to get in and out of that area safely on that day. So I appreciate the city departments that participated in that. Of course, I want to thank Amy Bradman for helping Amy Hilliard for helping to facilitate that for us. I'm probably going to get in trouble for saying this, but I guess everybody knows pretty much now I really don't care what I say and the outcome. But on March the 5th, Paula Barlow celebrated 25 years working with the city of Prattville. So I think that is an awesome achievement, and I think that we should recognize her for her 25 years of service. And I know, how many years have you had to work with us here for the city clerk, as a city clerk? Huh? And God bless you for having to deal with all of us, and I know especially me. So congratulations on 25 years of service for the city of Prattville.
Thank you, Counselor Jackson. Counselor Merrick, any comments?
No, ma'am.
Counselor Whaley?
Just one. It's better on the retirement side, just.
Counselor Strutic? Our next regularly scheduled council meeting will be Tuesday night, April the 15th, 2025 at 6 p.m. right here. Do we have a motion to adjourn? We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor say yay.
Yay.
Opposed, nay. We are adjourned.